Let's see. Oh, space. All right. So the discussion is about deep culture. And as we read in the reading, good job, everyone. So the questions that we are answering or discussing is, what is deep culture? How is it defined in this text?
Wait.
What did you guys find? Oh, we're doing deep culture?
What does it mean? Black? Yeah.
Wait,
The
which
Jude
one are we
class
doing?
This one's
yesterday.
race and poetry.
Oh
Race and
man. Oh, wrong
Race and
reading.
poetry.
Wrong one. Okay, race in poetry and fiction discussion. Sorry, reading.
Okay, it's okay.
All right. Flo, you want to lead the discussion?
Okay, so the first question says, what does it mean to be black in these poems and the short story?
What does it mean to be black?
Is it the right poem we're on? Race
Yeah.
poetry?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's right.
I was on the wrong one.
So I think in the poem, like the theme for English B, the speaker acknowledged that there's a significance of his race, because the writer here is a student, and the way in which it has shaped his experience and perceptions, but also recognize that his identity is not solemnly defined by his race. It also concerned with his education, background, his age, and something. And he notes that he shares commonalities with his white instructor, such as being American and living in the same city. Those are the things that they have similarities. But also, the poem suggests that being Black is part of larger identity that is shaped by various factors, including race, but is not limited to it. And similarly, in the Browns, in the short story, being Black is a significant aspect of the girls' identities and shapes their experience at the summer camp. The girls are confronted with racial tensions and prejudice from the white girls and another brownie troop, and this becomes a central issue throughout the story. So the girls experienced as Black girls are portrayed as a complex and notion with an individual's perception and experience shaping their understanding of their own racial identity. So technically, the story suggests that being Black can be a source of pride and strength, but also lighten the challenges and difficulties that comes with navigating a world that can be hustled and to the Blackness. So it emphasized. I just noticed that this is how they emphasize the story, the experience, identity, the complex of how it becomes their color, the Black. So that is just my idea.
Yeah. I really like what you said about in the poem theme for English B, because I noticed that too. Like in the second stanza, the third stanza, it says, I guess being colored doesn't make me not like the same things other folks who are other races, which is kind of interesting. Like, because it's like, I think as a Black person, like, he is probably like, maybe like feels like he's different from a lot of the other kids because everyone else in this school is white. So like, it seems like he shouldn't like the same things, but he says that just because he's Black, it doesn't make him not like the same things. Like, he's still, like it says in the previous lines, it says like he still likes to work and read and learn, like, which everyone likes to do, you know.
Wow, thank you for sharing. I
Mhm.
like For me, I'm me putting myself in his shoe when I was reading the poem. I would feel the same way, like where for him coming from his perspective, from being a black person, it's like him putting a statement out that yes, we're all human beings. Despite being black, he still loves listening to the same things as his other white folks does. And so, despite the color, we all share the same personalities. I mean, likes. We all have emotions. We share the same emotion. We we adapt in certain environments and everything as a human being. So for him, describing his emotions, um, like him writing the poem is the truth. So yeah, that's what I wanted to put myself in his shoe, to share some things.
Yeah.
Viney, anything you wanna share? Viney?
Did she leave? Maybe she went to the bathroom.
Maybe we can go to
Shall
the
we
next.
move on to the next? Okay.
Yeah, let's move on to the next one.
What is Black experience here? Does the question refer to what is Black experience here in the school or?
In the story. I mean, the story and the theme.
Yeah, I think it means like in the poems and in the story.
What is Black experience here?
I think it says.
Like what Annie said, Annie, you mentioned like from the line, I guess being colored doesn't make me not like the same thing other folks like who are other races. Yeah. And then it goes from this. So will my page be colored that I write? Being me,
Yeah.
it will not be white, but it will be a part of you, instructor. You are white. Yet part of me is I am a part of you. Wow.
I think I haven't finished the whole story, the short story. But I think
Wait,
it talks about more complexity, or the complex of one cannot be reduced to any one aspect. They this theme and this short story emphasize the importance of recognizing the significance of race and the ways in which it shapes our experience, while also acknowledging the diversity and complexity of individual experience. So that simply means that it's it is the experience of, you can put yourself in her shoe, like what you, Florence, mentioned when you're reading the theme or the poem. You are putting yourself to the student, or to him, the writer. And that is something with colors, with people with colors, they will recognize the way. It's The topic is really sensitive, right? It's like kind of be broad, especially we're just focusing on black. Like, how's the feeling of the black people? Are they normally having this racial discrimination? I'm not very sure, because it's something discussed. This is something that it's also tells, but it's not really. We're wondering. I'm just wondering what's the reminder to avoid using racial and ethnic slurs when discussing this text. Not very sure what that means is, but how can we? I mean, the experience itself, but for those who are black.
Yeah.
Is that the question?
The second
Yeah.
one.
What is Black's experience here?
Oh, in America?
No, I'm not pretty sure if it's America, but it
Oh,
says
in the poem.
in the
Yeah.
poem in the short story.
Black experience here.
Yeah, I don't actually know because the next question kind of makes it seem like
In what ways does
it's
society
not in the
shape what it
poem,
means to be Black?
Oh, it's not.
It's not
which
in the
makes me
poem.
wonder if
Oh
the question
yeah, it's like
before.
A general question. Maybe it can apply to any other race. Just like besides black, it could be any other race. What could it be like in?
And what is Black experience here? In what ways does society shape what it means to be Black?
Here?
I'll speak from any experience, I feel like, with all of us, but I feel like just from like secondhand experience or from things that we've read or watched or seen so far in our generation. I think it like I think for some they have to like defend themselves. Like and also and it's sad that they have to explain themselves in different situations so that they don't get in trouble. But I feel like society has kind of has like kind of told like those who are Black that they should be ashamed of their color or like their race or their culture just because of like the history of it here in this country. But then now I feel like within their own culture, like the Black culture, they're empowering themselves. They're the ones that are trying to build themselves up again. I feel like that's with any culture, to be honest. But like, especially like because we're discussing about the Black culture or like those who are African American. Yeah, I feel like they're empowering themselves within their society, despite what society on the outside has continuously told them what their culture is and what their history has been, and like just the oppression that they should constantly feel because of their history or like whatever the society says. But yeah, it's I feel like they're embracing it now. They're like learning to love it more for themselves instead of for other people or for other sorry, that was not, yeah. But
Yeah, like I feel
it's a
like
strange
I also
question to ask
hear.
for discussion.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that. I feel like I also hear like about like empowering themselves. Like I feel like nowadays, like you hear so much more like support like Black businesses or support like things that like Black people are trying to do to like you said, like empower themselves and kind of build themselves back up. Which I feel like is kind of recent. Like I don't think like 20 years ago people were really saying like support Black businesses, you know, like I feel like that's more of a recent thing, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah, that's true. It becomes when we hear the history of where in America, it's the slavery, we see segregation, discrimination, and also lots of impact with the Black community. And Black people have been denied access to equal opportunities back in the history. But right now we're improving. Like we see in America, there is a lot of improvement. But there's still a lot of discrimination that is happening. And my major is social work, and I'm also taking anthropology class, and and we have discussed about race and ethnic, and also ethnology, race, and then social work, how you protect a family or person who's experiencing discrimination, bully, something about that. And the most common thing that it's always happening is because they're Black. They're because of their colors, the skin colors. It's I give a lot of impact with those family because those Black people, or I mean the Black the color is black, they're getting deprived from some education, healthcare, housing, employment, and other among other areas. Those opportunities are given inequality to them because of their colors. But in anthropology, it says you should be always proud. Like if your race, don't put a stereotype or negative thoughts about because you're colored like black, you're white, yellow, red, or something. Those colors, you have to accept it. Like, yeah, this is my color, but it's you in self perspective. You have to just accept the fact that what is your color, but also it's really hard to see the society how treating those with colors. What is happening? I mean, treating those people different colors. Every area around the world there is a discrimination. Not only we're just not talking about specifically in America, but also around the world.
Yeah. Does anyone else have anything else to add?
Mm-mm.
Okay, then the last question is, in what ways do these writers respond to that and make a concept of identity for their speakers?
Mm, just to I think the importance or recognizing what the writers are saying is the significance of race and the way it which is shape our experience. So what if we have to recognize that we are different. It also mentioned in my anthropology class that even though I'm defined as yellow because I'm Asian, that is my race, but that race experience or shape my experience. I have experienced the things I want happen to me before and right now where I am, that it's shaped what I have. So while acknowledging those diversity and complexity of individual experience, the work of suggested identity is not a fixed or singular concept, but rather dynamic and multifaceted one that requires ongoing exploration and understanding. So it's simply just me accepting and recognizing how this is my race, and because of this race, I am who I am right now. So I think that is it. That's for me the idea of what the writer is trying to say with the theme and the short story. Because Harlem, we cannot. I tried to open it, but we can't open it. It's not available.
It's a short one.
Harlem is, I think, the name of the university. Yeah, the boy,
Harlem.
the boy who wrote this poem, the university he was attending is named Harlem,
Hmm.
Harlem
I
University. So when
I
he was
can't
writing,
open it.
like he's like Harlem will hear this poem. Everybody here will hear this poem as I write it because me being as a black person attending this college, um, and a writer also writing his
I
opinion,
see.
being a black,
Yeah.
only black student society.
Oh,
Nice. But
that's
the poem
nice.
Harlem itself is short, yeah? Did you guys see it? Did you guys search it in like a different? It's by the same writer. It's short. I'll just read it. It says, "What happens to a dream deferred? Does it dry up like a raisin in the sun, or fester like a sore and then run? Does it stink like rotten meat, or crust and sugar over like a syrupy sweet? Maybe it just sags like a heavy load, or does it explode?" So you're talking about the college. Anyway. Anyway.
Mm.
Bless you, bless you.
Thank you. And did you guys get to read the story, the brownie story? I think I read this one before or something. Brownie.
Yes, in the textbook.
Mm,
I think I read it for another class. Whoa. Our lights just flickered. Anyways. In what ways do these writers respond to that and make a concept of identity for their speakers? I think just going along with what Flo said about the writer for the both poems, he's African American himself. He